Winston Churchill, a defining leader of the 20th century, led Britain through its darkest hours during World War II. A passionate writer and painter, his legacy continues to inspire. Churchill, a symbol of resilience and democracy. Discover more about his life. Welcome to our documentary on the life and legacy of Winston Churchill, one of the most iconic and influential leaders in British history. From his early days as a young soldier and journalist to his rise as Prime Minister and leader of the free world, Churchill's life was marked by courage, resilience, and unwavering commitment to his values. We'll take you on a journey through Churchill's remarkable life, exploring his triumphs and setbacks, his strengths and weaknesses, and his enduring legacy. Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill was born on November 30th, 1874, at Blenheim Palace, the ancestral home of the Dukes of Marlborough. He was the grandson of the 7th Duke of Marlborough and the son of Lord Randolph Churchill, a politician and member of Parliament. Churchill's early life was marked by a sense of unease and instability, as his parents' marriage was strained and his father was often absent. Churchill's childhood was spent in the grandeur of Blenheim Palace, but also in the relative seclusion of his nursery. He was a lonely child with few close friends, and his parents' focus was largely on their own careers rather than his upbringing. However, Churchill's love of reading and learning was encouraged by his nanny, Mrs. Everett, who instilled in him a love of books and storytelling. Churchill was sent to Harrow School, a prestigious boarding school in London, where he struggled academically and found solace in writing and storytelling. He developed a love of reading and literature, devouring the works of Shakespeare, Dickens, and other British authors. Churchill's experiences at Harrow School were transformative, as he began to develop his skills as a writer and orator, and forged close friendships with classmates that would last a lifetime. Churchill's parents wanted him to follow in the footsteps of his ancestors and join the military. He attended the Royal Military College at Sandhurst, where he trained to become an officer in the British Army. It was here that Churchill developed his skills as a horseman and a shooter, skills that would serve him well in his later life. However, Churchill's experiences at Sandhurst were also marked by struggles with discipline and authority, as he often found himself at odds with his instructors and peers. Churchill's early military career took him to India, where he served as a young officer in the British Army. He saw action in the Northwest Frontier Province, where he was wounded in combat and awarded the Victoria Cross for his bravery. It was also in India that Churchill began to develop his skills as a writer and journalist, writing dispatches for the Indian Army's newspaper and honing his writing style. However, Churchill's experiences in India were also marked by a sense of isolation and loneliness, as he struggled to come to terms with the vast distances between himself and his loved ones back home. Despite the difficulties of his early life, Churchill remained deeply devoted to his mother, Jenny Jerome. He wrote to her regularly, sharing with her his hopes and fears, his triumphs and setbacks. These letters provide a unique insight into Churchill's inner world, revealing a sensitive and emotional young man, struggling to come to terms with the demands of his family's legacy and his own ambitions. As Churchill's military career progressed, he began to develop an interest in politics. He was elected to Parliament in 1900, representing the Conservative Party in the constituency of Manchester North West. Churchill's entry into politics was marked by controversy and division, as he clashed with his own party over issues such as free trade and the status of the British Empire. Churchill quickly made a name for himself in Parliament, known for his bold and forthright opinions. He became a member of the Imperial Defense Committee and began to establish himself as an expert on military affairs. However, Churchill's relationship with his colleagues was often strained, as he struggled to navigate the complexities of party politics and parliamentary procedure. In 1899, the Second Boer War broke out between the British Empire and the two independent Boer states in South Africa. Churchill, eager for adventure and looking for an opportunity to prove himself, traveled to South Africa as a journalist for the London Morning Post. He saw action in the war, serving as a correspondent and a soldier, and reported on the major battles and skirmishes of the conflict. Churchill was captured by the Boers while on patrol with a British Army unit. He spent several weeks in prison, where he continued to write articles for the Morning Post and advocate for the release of other British prisoners. However, Churchill's experiences in captivity were marked by hardship and discomfort, as he was forced to endure cramped and unsanitary conditions, and was often subjected to physical and emotional abuse by his captors. Churchill managed to escape from prison, disguising himself as a stoker on a train bound for the port city of Lourenço Marques. He traveled to Mozambique and then to England, where he was hailed as a hero for his bravery and cunning. However, the escape was also marked by controversy, as some questioned the legitimacy of Churchill's actions and the circumstances of his capture. Churchill's experiences during the Boer War had a profound impact on his view of the world and his role in it. He began to develop a sense of unease about the growing threat of Germany and the need for Britain to strengthen its military defenses. Churchill's concerns were only heightened by the outbreak of World War I in 1914, which saw the German Empire and its ally, Austria-Hungary, go to war against Britain, France, and Russia. Churchill was appointed First Lord of the Admiralty, where he played a key role in organizing the British Navy's response to the German U-boat threat. He was instrumental in developing the concept of the 10-year rule, which assumed that there would be no major war in the next decade and that Britain could therefore reduce its military spending. Churchill also played a key role in the development of the convoy system, which helped to reduce the number of British ships lost to German U-boats. However, Churchill's leadership was also marked by controversy and failure. The disastrous Gallipoli campaign, which Churchill had strongly supported, resulted in heavy losses for the British Army and a sharp decline in Churchill's popularity. Churchill's defense of the campaign, which he believed was a sound strategic decision at the time, was met with widespread criticism. Despite this setback, Churchill continued to play a key role in the war effort, serving as a colonel in the Royal Scots Fusiliers on the Western Front. He saw action in the trenches and developed a deep respect for the soldiers who fought alongside him. Churchill's experiences on the front lines had a profound impact on his view of war and its impact on those who fought it. The end of World War I marked a turning point in Churchill's life and career. He was appointed Minister of Munitions and later Secretary of State for War, where he played a key role in shaping Britain's post-war military policy. Churchill's efforts helped to demobilize the British Army and develop a new strategic framework for the country's military. Churchill's relationships with his colleagues were often complicated and contentious. He clashed with Prime Minister David Lloyd George over issues such as military spending and the future of the British Empire. Despite these tensions, Churchill remained a dominant figure in British politics, earning the respect and admiration of his colleagues and the public. Churchill's involvement in the Russian Civil War also had a significant impact on his view of communism and the Soviet Union. He strongly opposed the Bolshevik government and advocated for British intervention on behalf of the anti-Bolshevik forces. Churchill's stance on this issue was widely criticized by those who believed that Britain should not interfere in the affairs of another country. The interwar period was marked by rising tensions between Britain and Germany, as Adolf Hitler's Nazi regime began to consolidate its power. Churchill, now a member of the opposition, became increasingly vocal in his warnings about the threat posed by Hitler's regime. The Munich Agreement, which handed control of the Sudetenland to Germany, marked a low point in Churchill's career. He was widely criticized for his opposition to the agreement, which many saw as a necessary compromise to avoid war. Churchill's warnings about the dangers of appeasement were met with skepticism and ridicule by many of his colleagues. However, Churchill's leadership during World War II would ultimately vindicate his position. As Prime Minister, he rallied the British people and led them through the darkest period of the war, including the Battle of Britain and the Blitz. Churchill's oratory skills were instrumental in boosting British morale and rallying the nation to the cause. Churchill's speech to the House of Commons, in which he said, "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets," has become one of the most famous speeches in history. Its message of defiance and determination helped to inspire a nation in the face of overwhelming odds. Churchill's leadership during the war was also marked by a strong partnership with U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The two leaders worked closely together to coordinate Allied strategy and resources, and Churchill was instrumental in convincing Roosevelt to support the invasion of North Africa. This partnership played a significant role in shaping the outcome of the war and cementing the Anglo-American alliance. Churchill's commitment to the Atlantic Charter, which set out the Allied goals for the post-war world, helped to lay the foundation for the United Nations and shape the direction of international relations in the post-war era. Churchill's vision for a new world order was rooted in his deep commitment to democracy and the rule of law. After the war, Churchill remained a prominent figure in British politics, serving as leader of the opposition and prime minister once again from 1951 to 1955. He continued to play a key role in shaping Britain's post-war policy and remained a powerful voice on the international stage. However, Churchill's later life was also marked by a renewed passion for painting and writing. He wrote extensively on politics, history, and literature, and his paintings were exhibited in galleries around the world. Churchill's creative pursuits helped to sustain him during his later years, and he remained a prolific writer until his death in 1965. In 1953, Churchill was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature for his writings. The award was a testament to his enduring literary legacy and his ability to craft compelling narratives that captured the imagination of readers around the world. Churchill's death was marked by widespread mourning in Britain and around the world. He was buried in St. Martin's Church in Blenheim, near his childhood home, and his legacy has endured as one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century. Churchill's impact on modern history continues to be felt today, and his writings remain a source of inspiration for leaders and scholars alike. Today, Churchill remains an iconic figure, revered for his leadership and his unwavering commitment to democracy. His legacy serves as a reminder of the power of the human spirit and the importance of standing up for what is right, even in the face of overwhelming opposition. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and legacy of Winston Churchill. We hope this documentary has provided a new and deeper understanding of one of the most fascinating and influential leaders in history.